top 5 cars as things stand: Russell, Norris, Verstappen, Drugovich and Albon. The fastest lap at this point in time is a 1:33.0. We don't currently have the data for that request.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today: Russell, Norris and Max Verstappen. With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race. So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. Edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Drugovich, Albon, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Zhou, Ocon, Hauger, Tsunoda, Perez, Sargent, Théo Pourchaire, Ricciardo, Stroll, Doohan, Liam Lawson, Magnussen and Daniel. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please. Clutch bite is good, gearbox is responding normally. Make sure to warm up the tyres and brakes. Warm the tyres and brakes throughout the lap, please. All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Well, it wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. With the sprint wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race. Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself, 14 miles southeast of the city centre, has been home to the US Grand Prix since 2012, the latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We're racing then today in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of this wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles per hour here today, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the two DRS zones into Turn 1 and the long back straight into Turn 12. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Drugovich, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Norris, Joe, Leclerc, Sargent, Daniel, Théo Pourchaire, Hauger, Ocon, Perez, Tsunoda, Stroll, Doohan, Ricciardo, Liam Lawson, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. It's just about time to go down to the track for the beginning of the race, but before we do, Anthony Davidson, what types of strategy do you think we can expect for today's event?
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. The tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending longer on worn tyres.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going. Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap. Let's focus now for the rest of the race.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they secured here. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. It's a good result for Lando Norris, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
It's an interesting one today. On balance, I think I have to call out Alexander Albon. A really solid drive from him today, and one that he and his team should be proud of.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Our new parts have completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
First position, front of the pack. And just behind us are Drogovic, Norris and Verstappen. The fastest lap at this point in time is a 1:17.2. We don't currently have the data for that request.
Bienvenidos to the most populous city in North America. The legendary Jim Clark won the first official F1 race back in 1963 here, and we've had a veritable who's who of winners ever since. It's Mexico City, and therefore, the Mexico City Grand Prix. 17 corners then at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 10 to the right and 7 to the left. And all of them will have to be tackled in difficult wet conditions here today. No DRS assistance either, at least not for the start of the race. But the best overtaking opportunities will still be down into turn 1 or shortly afterwards into turn 4. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Drugovich, Albon, Joe, Teo Pourchaire, Ocon, Hauger, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Sargent, Ricciardo, Perez, Stroll, Doohan, Liam Lawson, Magnussen and Daniel. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for today's race. Let's talk about Daniel. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down. Okay, so let's go through all the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs. Great manoeuvre, you made it look so easy. Okay, this is Mark. I need you to stop cutting the corners. If you keep it up, the stewards are going to give you a penalty. Okay, you're in the top 10. Okay, clear. Okay, we've been given a time penalty. It will go against our finishing time at the end of the race. Get your head down and let's get it done. Okay, so the gap to the car ahead, 2.0 seconds. Okay, slot in behind and try to keep up with them. There might be an opportunity to take the place back. Okay, so this light rain is going to be with us for a while now. Inters look like the best tyre for now. Okay, mate, we might need to look at a new race strategy after that. I've got some options for you, so go and check your MFD. Virtual safety car deployed. Slow down and maintain a positive delta. Virtual safety car is deployed. Okay, copy that. Light rain will stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay. Inters seem to be the fastest tyre for now. Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta's negative, which means you're going too fast. Reduce your pace. Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending. Wait for the greens. Okay, mate, that's it. Go, go, go. That was a fantastic stop. Faster than we were expecting. All right, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy. We're expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes. Okay, gap ahead is 2.4 seconds. Gap to your teammate behind is 8.3 seconds. There's a new strategy available on the MFD. Okay, and that's a red flag. Red flag. Keep the delta positive, and let's have you straight to the pit lane, please. Okay, there's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, all right, we can get a nice advantage here. Let's have a think about how we handle the rest. I know this feels a bit like deja vu here, but there's a good opportunity to get this start spot on. Come on. Mercedes drivers just completed a pass for the lead. Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining, 5 laps of fuel left. Okay, good work. Great pass. Final lap. Push, push. Right, we've got enough fuel for 3 more laps.
Makes this event a brutal one for these Formula One cars, but this team have done a fantastic job to make it to the checkered flag and take a well-earned victory today. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win?
Rain always has the potential to liven up a race and mix up the order, and they've taken full advantage of that to claim the victory today. It's always a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on circuit and have come out on top.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners. Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. It's a good result for Lando Norris, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I think for driver of the day, I'd probably pick Lando Norris. He lived up to every inch of his reputation today, and I think he'll be going home, quite rightly, a bit proud of himself.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
You're not currently in a rivalry. Sooner or later, you'll probably be asked by the media who you consider to be your
The department wants me to pass on their thanks for helping out.